Welcome to day 7 of the Rose Room Stitch Along for the crochet bag. Today we are going to be lining our bag. So up until now you should have a bag, so your main bag all joined together with your ends sewn in, with an opening at the top and joined around the sides. And then you want 2 straps as well. So first of all, with your fabric, you'll want to make sure that you've got your fabric ironed, and so if it's got lots of creases in it, give it a bit of an iron. You want it to be relatively flat and crease free to work with. Then what you're going to do is lay your pieces out on your fabric to make sure what needs to fit where fits. So for example, I am using a ½ meter of fabric and I've got it folded along the bottom here. So I'm going to need 2 sides to the lining for my bag. So with it being folded along the bottom, I've got a fold line here, which means I'm not going to need to sew along there, or well, cut along there or sew along there. So the bottom of the bag is going to be folded up and we can put our seams down here. And then what I'll be left over with will be this long strip. Once I've got it opened out, it will be enough for both of the straps to be, so it needs to be, this strip at the side here needs to be a double width of your strap. So for example, this one, if I go like that, then I know that I've got enough space for a double width of one strap. But this piece is folded at the bottom here. So once I fold it out, I'm going to have the same again to be able to do the same with this one. So that looks about right. So to get your pieces cut out, I'm going to move these ones for now and we'll come back to those in a moment. I'm just going to work on the bag to start with, leaving this strip down this side because I know I'm going to need that for my straps. With the actual bag itself, I'm lining up the bottom of my bag against my fold line here. So that's one less seam to do. So we want 2 sides to our bag, but if we use one piece of fabric and fold it, then we've just got 2 seams to make up the sides. Using a pencil or a heat removable pen and any ruler, add a 1/4 inch seam allowance down the side edges and a 1 inch seam allowance along the top. Now using a pair of fabric scissors, you can cut out the lines that you've just made. So now to create the sort of hem or seam across the top of the bag, we're going to fold open. So this is the square that we've cut out and the folds along the bottom here. We are going to open this out, and with this side, the inside facing you, we're going to fold this down by 3/4 inch. So let's pop that on here. Like so. Okay, so 3/4 inch, we are going to fold that down and iron along that edge. Then we're just going to do the same thing again. So we're going to fold it down once more by the same amount. So 3/4 inch folded down again, and then again, give it a little press. Then, once you've got this, you're going to do the same again, but on the other side. So we flip this one up. We don't want it to be going that way. We want it to be going the same way as this. So you're going to turn it around and then just do the same thing on this side. So fold that over by 3/4 of an inch. Iron. And the same again. Okay, so next, either by sewing by hand or by running it through your sewing machine, you're going to want to put a seam along here, on that one, and on this one. So just a straight stitch along. If you're going to do this by hand, then you just want your needle and thread, and you're going to start just about here, and you're just going to take a tiny little bit of the fabric from the front and from the seam and do a couple of stitches in one spot there just to make it secure. And then just work your way along, taking a tiny little bit at a time. And then the same again, going in just underneath a tiny little bit of your and again just taking a tiny little bit. And the same again, all the way along. Like so. This is how it will look on the other side. Or if you decide to do it through your machine, then that'll look something like this. Do the back stitch at the beginning, and then away you go. Okay, so once you have got your seams sewn here, you're going to turn it back the other way so that the seams are on the outside, like this. So we want them on the outside, and from here you want to line those up nice and straight across the top. Make sure that the edges are lined up nicely down the sides like this. So move this one over a tiny bit. Okay, and now I'm going to sew down those edges. So if you wanted to at this stage, you could add a few pins in like this to keep it in place. Make your way down with a few pins down each side. If you choose to sew this one by hand, I would probably use a back stitch, which would look something like this. So you're going to want to start 1/4 of an inch away from the edge, like so. And then you're going to want to go in a couple of times in one place like this to secure it. Go back and forth a couple of times over the same place. So you can either use a running stitch or a back stitch here really. I'm going to go for a back stitch. So that would be like this, and then you go back in where you came out and come out a stitch length away, like so, and then go back in just there and then come out a stitch length away. And then the same again, come out a stitch length away. And if it helps to draw a line going up there to keep you 1/4 of an inch away from the edge, then do that. Or if you decide to do this via sewing machine, then you're just going to do a straight stitch with a 1/4 inch seam allowance down the side like this.